Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. How are you all doing? Hope you're all well. Hope your week's going all right. Hope we're here at Hump Day again, and I hope your week's not faring too bad. So yeah, hobby hangout tonight. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Marcus, Super Pumpkin Man. Good evening to you, mate. Nice to see you in nice and sharp today. Peter Nicholas as well. So he got away with his comment. I must have missed something earlier. You cheeky monkey. Peter Cooman, hello to you. Hello, Mark Wright as well. Meets in Taverns, hello, fella. He's saying he can't stay for tonight, but we'll play it in the catch up, or we'll play the catch up. Hello in the catch up, mate. And he's saying, what's the chat likely to be tonight? The hobby hangouts on a Wednesday, mate, generally are a bit more of a kind of like a ramble where I tend to do some painting or some building or some modelling or something like that, and I guess it's kind of background noise for you lot just to kind of hang out. The idea is we all get together every Wednesday, almost kind of like, right, Wednesdays, hobby hangout night, I'm going to do a little bit of hobby kind of thing, and it's just something to kind of pin in the calendar, really. Christian, good evening to you, mate. How are you doing, fella? Hope you're not working too hard. John Estell's got his halflings on the table tonight. Nice one. Buddy Yoakum's in as well. Hello to you. Hello to Blizzards as well. He says, me and my Butterfingers are here. I hasten to ask why you've got Butterfingers, mate. Tasty Brain Drain, good evening to you. Peter Stockdale, good evening as well. Hello, Tony Howell. I just jumping around there a little bit. Jacob, this is headache day for me today. Oh, hope you're alright, mate. Take care, buddy. Peter Stockdale started a new job today. Congrats on the new job, mate. I hope your first day went well. VJ, good morning to you, sir. I know you've been stacked with work lately, so it's always nice to see you, mate. Bacon chat. That always reminds me of an old proper dad joke. And I won't tell you the whole joke, but it's essentially about a bacon tree. And it goes, and it's a long-winded joke. It goes on for ages about a bacon tree. But it turns out to be a hambush. As in an ambush. Anyway, that's whenever I see it just made me think of bacon tree there. So, tonight, what we're doing, folks. What are you lot doing? Bliss is dropping and fumbling things today. I have that kind of like the days of dropsy every now and again, mate. I didn't much feel like painting today, if I'm perfectly honest. You know, some days you feel like I'm right in the mood to paint and stuff like that, but I was thinking, I'm not really feeling the painting today. I'm kind of, if I start painting, I know I'll cock it up. So I thought we'd do something a little bit different today. Derek Hodge, good evening to you, mate. And Christian says, not working too hard. You've got 2 days off from tomorrow. Oh, bliss, mate. A nice little break. So, what we're going to have a look at tonight, press the right buttons, is, a little while ago, I got sent some stuff from Archeon Studios. And I'll be perfectly honest, I've just never got round to kind of taking a look at them, if I'm honest. So we're going to have a look at them tonight, and we're going to build up. This is one of the things I'm going to build tonight. So this is from their Dungeons and Lasers range, and these are all available to either to order now or to pre-order. And this is their kind of hard plastic, sort of build your own dungeon type thing. But the Dungeons and Lasers ones are very much more sci-fi as well. They did a lot of fantasy stuff. And this is their sci-fi range. So this is a sci-fi starter set. We're not going to be building this one tonight, folks, but we will have a look at it. And this is the kind of thing it builds you. And my initial thought of this is that it looks really cool. I think it would be awesome for doing like dioramas and that kind of stuff. But if you're going to do like a full sort of board full of this, I can imagine it gets quite expensive quite quickly. And I think, did I save the... I was looking to see how much this stuff is so I could talk about it. And this particular set is £35. I'm assuming that is full price. But yeah, £35. So if you think about you're going to get that kind of section there, yeah, I can imagine it mounts up. However, doesn't mean it's bad. And obviously, as I always say, sort of prices is almost irrelevant, as in like you can either afford it or you can't, or you think it's value or you don't think it's value. So price is kind of one of those things. But yeah, in this particular starter set, he says, getting it squared under the camera there is a chunk of stuff. So like I say, it's all plastic. There's a little leaflet thing inside there, a little bit of a kind of sort of building instructions, as in sort of telling you how everything goes together. It does kind of clip together and comes apart again, so you don't have to sort of glue it all together. And I think you get a big sort of tray of these kind of clip pieces. Another camera. And then essentially what they do is they go underneath. Let me just move my cup of tea before I'm not flying. They essentially go underneath these. So these wall sections here, those little pins kind of go underneath and link to the floor sections, which I'm assuming are under here somewhere. There's floor sections as well. So yeah, it's all nice, thick, chunky plastic. And there's a number of different kind of sort of other pieces as well, kind of little kind of portal type things, little bits of alien stuff, generators, guns. Looks like there's a guy in some kind of like sleep stasis type thing. So yeah, there's a number of bits and pieces in here, and so yeah, there's the floor sections underneath. There's more of those little clips and stuff as well. So yeah, we may build some of those up later on just to take a look at them and see what they're like. I might use them, build a nice little diorama at some point, and then and do a further video on them. But I thought I'd show them off tonight. Because like I say, I've not had a chance to actually to do anything with these tonight. So I'll put that one behind me, so we've got a bit of space. And next up, we've got this set. In fact, I haven't even took the plastic off this one, so let me at least cut this off, otherwise it's very shiny underneath the camera. Put that on one side. So this one is the Xenogenesis cell, and again you can see this kind of fits with the other stuff, and is kind of very much sort of overrun alien section. So if you're building kind of like a dungeon from the other set, you could have this as kind of like a control room or something that's been taken over a little bit. Price wise, let's have a look and see how much this one is. This one is £17, so yeah, not too bad. Again, if you're building up diorama type stuff, I imagine this is this will save you a whole heap of time and stuff like that. But yeah, it comes with 6 walls, 3 doorways, 3 long walls, 3 long floor sections, and 3 small floor sections, plus all the wall and floor clips. And it will give you something that kind of looks like, actually, there's not really a big image of that. There's an image on my screen here which I can't share with you because I haven't connected my laptop in, but it's essentially, imagine this bit kind of coming out as a single square and coming up kind of thing. There's not really a picture of that one. And again, inside here is all of this kind of stuff. So it doesn't look like a whole heap of stuff when you actually open it up, but I suppose it stretches far enough to build some bits. So yeah, we might have a look at that one actually. This is the kind of stuff where basically you clip it all out, paint it up, and then almost fit it together afterwards, because it's removable. You don't have to kind of glue it in place. So that's that one. We've also got sent this, which if I go back so I can check the price on this one as well. This one is the Animal Companion set, which again I'll take the plastic off a little bit as well, just because it's easier to see on the screen. Look at that one there. And this is the Animal Companion set, as I say, but it's kind of, as you can see there, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll get it a bit closer. There's some nice minis in there actually. We'll open that one up and have a look at that as well in a second. But yeah, there's an eagle, a cat, a dog, fox, a monkey, a weasel. There's some mimics in there, but with a sci-fi twist to them as well. The wolf, a bear, turtle, goblin, Snark and Spark, and Paolo Aulio. Interesting names. So well, these are like a kind of like a coloured plastic as well, which is, I guess, if you're not wanting to paint them as well, if you're just like some kind of sort of doing an RPG type stuff or something, it's nice to have them in a separate colour. Again, some leaflets in there showing you how to build them and things. Hard plastics. 25mm bases on these as well. So in fact, let me move them, otherwise they were all kind of getting into each other's way. 25mm bases on these, as I said. The models look like they come in about sort of 2 or 3 parts. They are numbered and lettered, so like sort of F2 and little arrows pointing to which one it is, H3 and stuff like that. And then obviously you've got your leaflet here with how to assemble the individual animals. So it looks like there's quite a chunk of stuff in there. 24 miniatures it says. And price-wise, so that is priced at, he says, frantically looking for it. It's not on that screen. There's quite a lot of Dungeons and Lasers stuff, actually. We'll have to find that one later, because I'm not sure where that one is. So yeah, and then the last one, the one I think I'm going to build tonight. Let me open plastic again. Is this Xeno Dragon, which is it's one miniature. It 165 millimeters tall, 50 mil base, and it looks very much like kind of like an Aliens dragon type thing. And I think this one is £20. So if you're just fancying something to kind of build, if you want it to stand in for some kind of sort of, I forget what they're called now. The aliens from 40k. Why is my mind gone blank? Yeah, it'll stand in for those bad boys. It'll kind of it'll look good in any kind of sci-fi sort of RPG. It'll probably fit in with fantasy RPG for that matter. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at that, and I think we're gonna build this up tonight, and we'll have a look and see what the quality's like, see how it goes together, see what the fit's like, and take it from there. So let's get started with that. So we've got 3 sprues in here, quite sizable actually. The wings, that's kind of like a wingspan across there. I think this is going to be quite a big model. I think actually, I don't think I really kind of sort of got my head around just how big that size was. And then there's obviously some bits on here as well. But yeah, we'll crack on with that one. So let me get back to the chat here and see how. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the main screen setting. I'm going to have a little bit of my cup of tea before it goes cold, and then we'll crack on. Peterson, he's trying to finish his Forge Fathers. He needs the table cleared for his order tomorrow. Oh, what you got coming, Peter? Peter Nicholas is saying it's a repair knife for him. He's managed to knock a Drukari Venom off the shelf. Ouch, mate. Green Stuff Games is only here for 5 minutes. I'm on holiday and about to tuck in to some Chinese food, but wanted to pop in. Hello, Josie. I hope you're well. Busey saying even bacon lovers. Tony says, I heard good things of Dungeons and Lasers. A few friends rave about it. Yeah, I mean, on my very brief look at it there and looking at the boxes and stuff, it looks like nice quality stuff. I think it's going to get quite pricey to build a whole kind of dungeon or anything like that. But I don't know what the alternative is. I don't like. It might be cheap compared to the alternatives, if I'm honest. Peterson wasn't expecting it to be plastic. Yeah, it's all hard plastic. Mate, Archeon have done a kind of quite a lot of hard plastic stuff now. Also, is made in the EU as well. So I'm assuming it's not produced in China. They must have their own production or something like that. So yeah. See how it goes together. Tony's saying plastic is good. It's polyplastic that you could use plastic glue on. I'm assuming so, mate. I've got my plastic glue here, so we'll see. I mean, normally when it comes on sprues like this, it's normally kind of. It feels like kind of sort of polyplastic. So yeah, we'll see, mate. Josie says looks like a nice set. I'll check out their stuff in a bit. No worries. Peter says I once ate a Chinese takeaway that was delivered in a plastic box. I was pretty well hammered, and in the morning the box was gone. Gulp. Oh my god. We're just saying 49 hours to go on the Monpok Kickstarters. Ooh. I hope my fingers crossed for you, mate, that it all goes well. Pusey saying nice colour plastic. Yeah, it's nice to see some kind of bits of different coloured stuff for it. Scott Longworth, good evening to you, matey. How you doing? VJ saying, yeah, a Xenomorph Dragon. Good, interesting mashup. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen like a kind of like a Geiger style dragon before. Tyranid, thank you very much. That was the word I was looking for. I don't know why my brain went empty there. Busey says you're supposed to open the plastic packaging with a zombie knife. A zombie knife. Scott says, well, I have officially joined the MCP train. Choo choo. I did see you asking there if anywhere local had it in stock, mate. Nice one. Jason says, can't wait to see this one. Peter says, I want that Paolo Oello. Marcus is saying, well, this is my main 40k army, so I should know. That's yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Dirk's in, good evening to you. Jill, good evening as well. Just in from work, putting you on in the background while I play some Forza. Well, don't crash, Jill. Don't crash. Christian says his Elegoo Mars screen's finally died. Going to try and put the replacement screen on tomorrow and hopefully not budget. I was going to say you'll smash it, but you know what I mean. I didn't mean you're going to smash the screen. I just mean you'll do a really good job of fitting it. Bad choice of words. Unless that's the kind of like break a leg type thing. Jill saying this is the stuff Warren was building his dungeon with. It is, yeah. I think he was building the kind of like the proper dungeon stuff. And I'm assuming he didn't buy it. I'm assuming he got sent all that stuff because that would have been a pricey dungeon, I think. Peter says for that money it appeals to me. He uses mixing with other kits, Kill Team for example. Yeah, like I said, I don't think these are particularly expensive. Like this dragon's like 20 quid or something like that. And I would imagine something kind of sci-fi from GW would probably be upwards of like 30, 35. So it would fit in nice with that kind of stuff. Jill saying don't crash. What's the fun in that? Scott says what's best to pick up next? It really depends on what faction you want to play, mate. If you talk about Marvel, to be honest, the core set's almost kind of like a must buy. But after that, I would recommend getting a few games in, getting your head around it, and then deciding which kind of characters you want to play and looking at affiliations, and then kind of buying the affiliation that you want, because you can expand from Avengers. You can take the models you've got and take them into a different affiliation. So I think it just depends on that, mate. So I wouldn't rush out to buy anything just yet. Get what you've got built, get a couple of games in, get your head around the rules, and then kind of go from there, really. Or the other side of it is, I guess like I did as well, just buy what you like, mate. You can play with any models you want. You don't have to have them affiliated. Just buy the models you like. Ed's in as well. Good evening to you, mate. Peter says I got coming TT Combat, Abandoned Abbey and Rotten Stockade, Frostgrave Warriors 1 and 2, male and female wizards, barbarians, cultists, GW, chaos spawns, firefolk, rabble, and a Perry light cav. Something tells me they're not all for the same game, mate, judging by that list. Jill says don't crash. Where's the fun in that? Tony says taking a break from hobbying tonight. Had a pretty intense few weeks on hobbying, and I'm taking a breather. Yeah. I think I've done something. I've been doing a bit of DIY at home, and my wrist is feeling rather weak, and I didn't want to be kind of like sitting holding a paint handle all night. I don't know why, but it feels quite sore. So I thought I'll do something a bit different tonight. I wasn't really feeling the painting. And then some Frostgrave Knights and Demons as well. Scott says I fancy Hulk and Venom. I've got Hulk and Venom, mate. Yeah, just to be honest, like I say, just in that case, just buy the ones you like. It gets if you're buying to collect, like the stuff that you like, it gets expensive. There's no getting away from it. They're not the cheapest models in the world. However, if you're buying to play, it's actually not that expensive to kind of put together like a small force. So it's entirely up to you, like how you want to do it. If you just want to play a certain faction, then do a little bit of research. You just want to buy the models you like and chuck anything on the table, go ahead, mate. Jill says, yeah, they got sent it all. He was doing a bit multi-level thing. Yeah, I saw it. It looked amazing, to be honest. I remember watching him do it. And it was quite inspiring, but yeah, there was a hell of a lot of stuff in it, yeah. Jill says, DIY in her wrist. No, I think I mentioned before, we've been decorating the room, what used to be the studio and the spare bedroom, and kind of turned it into a bit of it's my hobby room at home, and also we kind of like where the games consoles are and stuff like that. We've got like a little sofa bed in there, so it can be used as kind of like a sleepover if we've got guests or anything like that. But most of the time it's like a bit of a family room type thing, so my little boy can sit and play his games or watch his iPad and sit in the room with me while I'm painting, stuff like that. So that's been the plan. So yeah, over the kind of Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, kind of Monday daytime, I was doing a bit of DIY stuff, kind of like putting the room back together. My wife had been wallpapering and stuff like that. And yeah, I think I got, when you get like the kitchen worktops from IKEA, I got one of those for a desktop, and it's quite heavy, and I don't know if I just kind of twisted my wrist a bit while I was lifting it. Christian saying, for Marvel, I want to build a Black Order team and both sides of the Civil War teams, though they don't currently have a Falcon model. They do have a Falcon model, however, it's the Captain America version, isn't it? It comes with War Machine. So there is a Sam, what's he called? Sam Wilson. There is a Sam Wilson model, but it's not. You could paint it as the Falcon, to be fair. But yeah, it's. I'm assuming we'll get a Falcon at some point. Peter says, I see the Rams are doing okay despite 2 losses. Yeah, it's kind of come out of off the back of a couple of bad losers. Then we've got a bye week now, so I think it's come at a good time to kind of have a bit of a break and regroup, I think. Peter says they're all for the same game, actually. Mordheim or A Song of Blades. Ah, well, there you go, mate. Want to build 2 entirely made-up fantasy forces. A nice one. And Peter says his daughter already claimed some parts for her female wizard sprue. She wants to build a witch. Very nice. Right, let's crack on then. Seems I didn't do much drinking. I did more talking. Right, I'm just gonna. So we've got the instructions here. I'm gonna kind of follow it as you would any other instructions, and we'll see how the whole thing goes together. So we need 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I just pop that there, just off the top of the screen there, then you don't have to look at it. I can see it just sitting on my keyboard there. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. You can see on the sprue here how there's sort of numbers with arrows pointing up. So we'll clip off 2 and 3 first of all. These are little eggs. I do need to invest in some new hobby clippers. I've had these ones for years and they've seen better days. Has anybody got any recommendations for good quality hobby clippers? This had I known this was going to be grey, I might not have used this grey background, to be honest. I'll tell you what I might do actually. I've got a mouse pad here. We'll brand it as well there. What I'll do is I'll put the bits on here so you can at least see them while I'm clipping them out. So 2 and 3 and then 4 and 5. That's these 2 bits. Seems strange we're starting with these little eggs. I'm assuming that they're just like sort of basin bits. So I've got those 2 bits. So we'll clean those up. Pusey says I went to IKEA last weekend. Not a nice experience. I got the home delivery mate when I couldn't get like a kitchen worktop. I couldn't get one in the car, so I was just I paid for the delivery and just got I got a TV cabinet and like a shelving unit and the worktop for the desk. I just got them all delivered and did it that way, mate. So yeah, right. So there, that just kind of fits together there. We'll try the plastic glue, Tony, see if it works. If not, I'll have to go and get myself some. I've got a bottle of super glue over there. Christian saying for hobby clippers, use the ones that come with your 3D printer. Do you know what, mate? I was going to, but the problem is my printer's in the garage and all my hobby stuff is going upstairs in the spare bedroom. Like the stuff like for when I'm sitting kind of hobbying. And so I just wanted to get a new set anyway because these ones are wearing a bit old and they're not quite as sharp as they should be. But then I wanted to just kind of leave them upstairs. So I'll need a second pair. The first pair of hobby clippers, to be fair, the ones that came with my Mars snapped. So the ones I'm using at the minute are the ones that came with the Neptune. Right, there's the first one done. Clean this one up as well. Scott says, I know nothing about the Marvel Universe. I'm more of a DC fan, but I don't like night models. Yeah, I must admit, mate, I'm in a very similar boat as you there. I'm not a huge fan of night models either. I'm not a huge fan of the resin miniatures, the quality of them, to be fair. They do some lovely sculpts. I've got no qualms about the sculpts that they do, but I'm not a huge fan of the resins. But yeah, I must admit, like as a kid growing up with comic books and stuff like that, I was always more of a DC fan, and Batman's still my kind of my favourite sort of superhero. But the Marvel sort of cinematic universe, they've done such a good job of it that I must admit it's really hooked me in. And the fact that Crisis Protocol is such a good game, it's kind of a bit of a double whammy. If anything, it's making me want to look at things like I was looking tonight to see how much Marvel Unlimited is. So Marvel Unlimited is a bit like It's a bit like Kindle basically for comic books, for Marvel comic books. And you either pay like a fee every month or you pay like an annual subscription. And then I think it's basically just unlimited comic books. So I was kind of looking to see what that was. Right, that's those two built. Next one we need 9, 10, 11 and 12. Let me just scroll back up here now and see where we're. 20 I was caught up with the Marvel hype that we've had recently and bought the Watchmen box set. There's nothing wrong with that, mate. Watchmen's alright. What a film the Watchmen is as well, to be fair, mind. Right, what do I need again? I need 9, 10, 11 and 12. So there's 12. Let's clip that bit off. We'll put that one on one side. Is 11 on this one? That's 13, that's 14, that's 27. It must be on the other one. So I'm just looking here. There's a. I don't know if you can see that there. Can you see? Can you see what it says there? It just says like, "Oops," smiley face, and then an arrow pointing there. Does that mean that they forgot to put the number on it? I think that's number 9. If they went to the trouble of putting "oops" on it, surely they could have just put the right number on it. Well, there's 10, so we'll clip that one off. Kenneth Paulson, good evening to you, sir. He's listening in while painting a Stormfang gunship for a game of Space Weirdos. Never heard of Space Weirdos, mate. I do like the Stormfang spaceship store, to be fair. I've always fancied painting one of the GW, like sort of like tanks or something like that, or sort of spaceships, just because I can't remember the last time I painted something like sort of like quite big. Be nice to kind of do that. You know what? Yeah, that's number 8. All right, we'll have to put that on one side. I thought that was number 10 there. So we've got number 10 is that foot there. So let's click that one off. So that's 10. Number 11 is. I think that's number 11 there. Well, this is all well and good. It's got all the numbers on, but no, I think that's 9. Let's click that one up. I have no idea why it says "oops." Like, went to all that trouble of actually writing "oops" into the sprue, as opposed to just putting the right number on it. Because not like they made a mistake and changed it. They would have just changed it for the number. So I think that one is number 9. So that's 9, 10, and then the other leg is 11. So where's the other leg? So there's 24. Oh, there it is. So the numbers on. Oh no, that's 9. Right, let's put that one to one side. Because there's 9 on this one. The numbers on the sprues are all over the place. I'd rather they numbered the sprues like sort of like 1 through to 10, if you like, on one sprue, and just change the numbers in the actual instructions. It's a bit of a pain there in the rear end. Right, so that one's number 9. That's number 10. This one's number 11. And then it's quite tough, this plastic to cut, to be fair, mind. It's definitely strong stuff. Either that or those hobby clippers are even worse than I thought they were. Okay, so we've got a couple of legs there now. Is that oops? Because they've put. Do you know what it is? I think they've put 2 legs in the same. I think that's why it said oops. They obviously made a mistake when they've sculpted the sprues. I think that's why it says oops. Peter's saying, honestly, best clippers I've ever had were the GW ones. Do you know what? I had a feeling that might be the case, mate, if I'm honest. I've heard about some ones that folks get for Gundam models and stuff, but I think they're like absolute, like stupid money. Like 70, 80 quid, something stupid like that. I ain't paying that for a set of clippers. but the GW ones are about 20, £22. Maybe you can get them like maybe 17, 18 quid with a bit of discount online. Still feels a lot of money for some clippers though, but I'm at that point where I'm thinking, you know, I was going to say, is it worth buying? Buy quality, buy once kind of thing. But I've had clippers for flipping years. It's not like these army painter ones came in like I think I was once staying overnight in Manchester and I bought myself some models, and then my trip got extended. I had to stay a bit longer, so I decided to go back to Element Games and buy some hobby supplies like some glue and some clippers and stuff to build the models that I'd bought. And these are the ones I bought, and I've had them for years. I used to have some like the old GW ones, but they snapped eventually. But I must have had them like 10 years kind of thing. So they do last, to be fair. Peter says, I hadn't heard of Watchmen until I saw the film last year, I think. Yeah, the Watchmen graphic novel, it was kind of sort of quite highly praised, really. That's that one cleaned up. Blizzard say my current set of clips I bought at Harbour Freight, and they've lasted longer than overpriced ones I've had before. Yeah, I always wonder whether it's like, because it's not. I need some new blades as well, to be fair. It's not like I've never used other clippers before. Like I used to be an electrician, so like I've used plenty of just kind of normal side cutters and stuff like that. I just wondered whether the hobby ones had like a flatter kind of blade to them or anything like that, because these ones are quite. They kind of got like more of a nip to them as opposed to like a cut. Scott says I use electrician's clippers, but they're kind of pricey. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. I used to have a set of sporty ones, obviously, because I used to be a sporty, but I haven't done that for such a long time. And back then I didn't buy my own tools. So Mooks Music, good morning, mate. Off to work as usual, he says. Have a very good day, mate. We're all willing you peace and tranquility and a nice chill day at work. Let me scroll down a touch here and we'll catch up on the chat. Let me find out where we're up to. Yeah, Scott's in there. Customer service, I'm not a fan of. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Although, to be fair, Scott, I have heard that their customer service has got a lot better lately, mate. So I've never bought from them for a long, long time. So I'm not really in a position to kind of comment on what they're like at the moment. But certainly, they weren't. They didn't have a great name. So these instructions, I tell you what. So these instructions here with night 9, 10. Oh, it's because the numbers go down like that as opposed to across. Bloody hell, man. I'll tell you what, this is what happens when you're concentrating on the stream and not concentrating on what you're actually doing. Tell you what, talk about doing things, also about it. Why not just do things like a normal book? Where were we up to here? Kaylee, good evening to you. Says just got in from Marvel game, House Tricks. Not too bad. Not too bad. How was your game? What did you play? Did you win? They're a bit weird, those little clips off the bottom there. VJ saying, oh sorry. Christian saying, if you're willing to spend the money, you heard good things about, right, the ones you're talking about there, 42 quid on Amazon. Yeah, I've heard about them, mate. I think they're the ones that kind of the Gundam folks rave about. I've seen them for like some stupid prices online. But yeah, 42 quid. 42 quid's a bit, is a bit much, like, isn't it? I mean, it's not like they don't get used, but it's not like they're going to kind of... Do you know what it is? If I paid 42 quid for a set of cutters and I never had to do any of this cleanup afterwards, that'd probably be money well spent. because this is what I don't like about building models. I hate all this kind of prep work. That's why I'm not that bothered about mold lines half the time. So I just think it's a right pain in the butt. Ed saying Watchmen film was a bit disappointing, but probably as good as an interpretation of the source material as could be put on film. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I enjoyed it, but it was long-winded. But yeah, I was gonna say, but it was a good representation of the graphic novel. Kaylee saying Watchmen was meh. The story is inherently something that could only work as a comic. I think a lot of comics are like that, though. That's why I think the Marvel stuff's done such a good job. Because what they've done is instead of staying true to the comics, they've kept the core elements of the original stories, and then they've kind of expanded on them a little bit. So, like, there's certain things in the comics that are different to what they are in the cinematic universe, and very intentionally different. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I mean, I know people will kind of cry about, like, oh, it's, you know, it's not like the comics or whatever, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be, does it? It can be its own thing. So, Fiji saying Adam raves about space weirdos all the time. Yeah, I guess it's his kind of thing, man, isn't it? Likes his indie games. Marco says hello everyone. He's painting some Bushido tonight. I tell you what, Marco, I'm assuming you're doing some what's the word I'm looking for? Commission stuff. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I assume you're doing some commission stuff, mate, because you get a good old mix of stuff on the table. Right. Now we'll see if these are sticking. Does it say anything on these about using any particular type of glue or anything like that? Let's have a look. No, it doesn't say about using any particular kind of glue, but I'm not sure if these are sticking. The eggs seem to stick together, but they were like quite a tight fit. I'm not sure if these are sticking with the plastic glue or not. I'll tell you what, they're a bit of a funny fit. I assume that definitely goes that way. Oh, for crying out loud. Right, that fits on there, okay. And then how does that fit? That fits onto there. Right, let's keep it going and see it. I'll hold it for a bit and see if it fits. Christian, they ruined the Watchmen movie. An abomination, in my opinion. Wow, didn't realize it was so divisive. I thought it was all right. And Ed saying, yeah, the TV show delivered. I don't think I ever saw the TV show, mate. VG says that looks the same as the other leg. Maybe the oops is because they include. That's exactly what it is, mate. Yeah, it dawned on me as I was doing it, bud. Mark says the guy who painted the Silent King has commissioned me to paint his Space Wolf Logan Grimnor on Storm Rider, like Santa Claus. Oh my god. Yeah, VG says it does the I was right then. Peter saying he enjoyed the TV series. I don't even think I realised there was a TV series. Always handy to have a spare leg. Wonder if I can stick it on somewhere. Kelly says DC screwed Alan Moore with the Watchmen rights. I think apart from the original book and miniseries. Yeah, I don't think Alan Moore is massively a fan of any of the film adaptations. I think of stuff he's done. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure. It's definitely sticking, but it doesn't feel like it sticks as fast as I would expect it to. So what we'll do, we'll just zoom in a touch here. I'm conscious that you're all miles away. There we go. It's a bit better. Russell Higgins says God Hand SRD best clippers. Never heard of them, mate. That might be something I have to check out. Right, so we'll put that there for now. So next we've got number 6, which is the large part of the tail curling round here. I'm not overly keen on these contact points here. How they come onto the kind of like the scales on the tail there. I'm not sure how else they could have done them, but I can imagine it's going to be a beast to clean up. Is that one off? Like, you see what I mean about there's some quite big sort of contact points on there. Like, they're quite chunky. So there's always a lot of cleanup when it's like that. Get around here. Just try nibbling them off there. Where are we up to here? And then you assume it's the ball at the end, is it? We'll soon find out if it's wrong. Let's have a look and see where we're up to here. Ed saying films greater than series, greater than comic. That would be the best way to experience Watchmen. He's stepping up in quality, yeah. Russell's. I'll have a chat about something else there. Peter says, I'm happy that they're making films from sci-fi and superhero stories. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think Green Lantern was all that awful either. But yeah, I've kind of given my opinions on films. I don't feel the need to. I just want to be entertained. I'm not looking for a masterpiece every time I watch a film. I'll tell you why, I'm enjoying it at the minute. I'm enjoying the new series of American Horror Story, which is pretty awesome. It's four episodes in. I think there's 10 episodes in this series, but it's split across 2 stories. So the first 6 are called Red Tide, and that's the one I'm watching at the minute. I'm 4 episodes in, and it's really, really good. But then I like all that horror stuff, so if you're not a fan of horror, you won't enjoy it. Hence the name, American Horror Story. Because I think some of the seasons have been a bit weak. I've enjoyed some of them and other ones not so much, but this one's definitely been one of the better ones. Where are we up to? 2010, yeah, I get one too. Incontinent English Bug Dog. Mark was in Sin City and 300 are awesome movies from equally awesome novels. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, mate. Sin City 2 was a bit of a letdown, but the first one was good. But yeah, I'm considering kind of getting, as I mentioned before, of picking up Marvel Unlimited. I think I'm all right when it comes to Marvel Universe stuff. Like, I know quite a lot of stuff. Like, I'm by no means like kind of like a comic book expert, but like I've read enough to know stuff. But I would like to kind of to watch some of the more unusual stuff that I've never read before. Things like Moon Knight and stuff like that that I've read bits of. I'd like to finish off like the Punisher that I used to read years ago and stuff. And so yeah, who knows? I might treat myself. It works out a lot cheaper if you buy it as like an annual sort of subscription thing. It works out much cheaper. So we'll see. Might be a Christmas treat to myself. Right, so that goes into there. We'll not glue that yet because I think there's a bit of angling it around. Oh, I assume it goes that way, but we'll probably take it off to paint or something. So we'll leave it like that for now. Luke Pryor, hello mate, how you doing? He says, what's that thing you're working on? It is, mate. It is this. Better off putting it onto that camera because it's going to be a bit quick. It's the Dungeons and Lasers Xeno Dragon. It was sent to me by Archon just to have a look at a little while ago, and I've never had a chance to kind of get around to it and get it on the channel. So I thought we'll do it tonight instead. Deep Red, hailing well met, he says. Wasn't able to comment earlier because I was trapped under a very small dog. That's what happens, mate. Mitchell Bridges, hello, mate. He says, have you had any Dead Zone 3.0 playing yet? I have, mate. I played Mr. John Estel, who's in the chat tonight, I think. Me and him had a game. Very much enjoyed it, mate. Tony says, it's very satisfying clip through. I feel a little disappointed when I cut a piece from the sprue and there's no clack. I always feel like it should just kind of go through nice and easy. Right, number 7 and number 8. I'm assuming that is. I've already cut off number 8, which was that piece. We'll cut off number 7 now. Like that, mate. Is that what you like? Is that like hobby porn? Is that what it is? The clack of the clippers in plastic. Get into there. There we go. Clean that one up. Oh, did that jump up my chart here? What did I miss? Oh, Mott was saying it's not a commission. If you guys from my club want to start playing it. Nice one, mate. That must have massively jumped up the screen there. I must have missed a bit. Let me go back and where are we up to? Jake the Peg there. Mark says, I just reshaped my clippers on a work grinder and resharpen them every once in a while. There you go. That's the way to do it, mate. Kaylee saying, customer service. Presume that's a night models conversation before I got here. Yes, it was. James says, I used to hate building and prep, and I find it one of my favourite things. Yeah, it's one of those things I've just, like, I just never really kind of, I don't get the kind of, like, the Zen, like, sort of experience from it. I'd much rather it was kind of sort of, I didn't have to clip stuff out, or it came as kind of one piece, or like, it's one of the things I actually quite like about 3D printing is that when you get the sort of pre-supported models, most of them come almost kind of one like single piece, so it's kind of nice. Let's clip that bit off. Clean this one as well. I think I didn't. I thought I cleaned this one up when I clipped it off last time. Clean that bit. I wouldn't care as well. I've just ordered a cutting mat for my desk upstairs, and it's black. It would have been much better for tonight. I hadn't figured on these being a light grey to match the bottom. Casey, Air Force versus Black Order. She-Hulk, Angela Medusa, Black Cat, and Nebula. Smash. Nice. Sounds like a good game. Who was it? Was asking about? Mike. It was Mitchell, wasn't it? Have you had any games yet, Mitchell? How are you doing? John says, I'm here. I was just concentrating and tidying up the minis before I applied liquid talent. I do like the layout from Dead Zone 3, and it's still a great game. Yes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the new layout of the stats and stuff. It's just made what was already a good game, but was a bit of a fiddle for me personally to kind of get something together. It's made a good game better. Well, here's where we see if this sticks or not. So we'll get that on there and put that in here, and we'll see, because it felt like it was sticking, but it was seeming to be taking a little while. Like normally you kind of feel it going off a bit quicker than that. Mitchell says the Wheel of Time series only a few days away and looks promising. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one, mate. Tony saying, give me that clack. Peter says, I'll order the new Dead Zone for Christmas or something. I have enough for this month with all the Frostgrave stuff. I can imagine, mate. I think you've got enough on your hands, mate, haven't you? Katie said I finish off the Polly Pocket commission, by the way. Just posted the finished pics in the Facebook. I'll have to have a look at that. Went ahead and green stuffed a bead on one of them. Busy saying, can't beat a nice new cutting mat with no cuts. I paint. Oh, do you know what it is, mate? I know. Like, I've got a green one, like a green cutting mat. 'Cause I think I bought my first one from like Hobbycraft, and they only sold green ones. And I never liked the colour. Like, it didn't matter where I put it. I know it's just for like hobby and stuff like that. But like I never liked the colour of it. So when I did the studio down here, I bought a grey one, and that's this one here. But for the one upstairs, I wanted to try and see if I get like a different colour, and I managed to find like an A1 size. So like, what's that? Like 3 foot by 2 foot, a black one. So it means it's like nicely covers like my new tabletop and stuff, and so I'll hobby on that. So there'll be no paint spills on the worktop, and sort of no cuts or anything like that, no scrapes or scratches. So it looks nice on the desk up there, but I could have done with it down here tonight, I think. Yeah, it's definitely sticking, Tony. Peter saying, must admit I'm looking forward to Frostgrave models. I hate prep these days, especially GW models. They just fit together one way. I actually prefer them when they fit together one way, because then it's just a case of assembling them. I don't really want to kind of sort of get all creative. It's not really my bag. But yeah, it's a real pain in the backside. It's just time consuming. Like this kind of stuff, it's just like busy work to me. Like even if I could, like I've said loads of times, I'm not really into kit bashing and all that kind of stuff. But even if I was sort of having to like sort of model it myself once I'd cleaned it up, like all the cleanup and prep and stuff like that, I just find it a bit tedious, to be honest. But that's why I tend to do some of it like this on a stream or something. It's just because actually it's quite nice just to sit and chat to you lot and take my mind off it. Because otherwise I would just I normally like this when I put on like audio books or put a podcast on or stick a film on the background, something I've seen before that I'm almost just kind of like listening to it a little bit. It's quite nice to do it that way, I suppose. Mitchell saying no gameplay yet. I should have the 2-player set by Christmas. Nice one, mate. Well, I've managed to paint. I already had a load of rats painted up, so they're done. Whoops. And I painted up the GCPS on a live stream a few weeks ago. I managed to do the whole sort of side of the 2-player set in one Wednesday hobby stream. So yeah, mine's all painted now as well. Acebox, good evening to you. Hope you're well. Nice to see a new name in here as well. Welcome to the chat. John saying, I thought my A2 cutting mat was big. It was green once, but it's got loads of airbrush overspray on it now. Yeah, these ones are A2, the ones I've got here. But I wanted a one like sort of just to basically like to take up as much space as possible. So yeah, I'll share you a little picture when I've got all my bits and pieces all kind of set up. I did get one of those hobby lamps as well, Kaylee, one of those ones you recommended. Is it Neat Fire or something it's called? I did get one, and you were right. It does light up the whole room. You can hobby with no other lights on. So yeah, I've got myself a nice lamp. It's a bit cleaned up there. Get this bit now. So there's quite a lot of bits to this actually. From what didn't look too much on the sprue, there's a good chunk of parts here. But they fit together quite nice. I quite like them when they're not like flat against flat. When there's almost a bit of a curve to it, because it doesn't half hide the joins. Mark saying I just rub some paint strip on my mats, leave it overnight, and wipe it off to keep them clean. Yeah, I normally kind of spray mine with a bit of isopropyl alcohol, and that cleans them up quite nice as well, to be honest. But I needed a new one for upstairs, so. Right, that's that bit. So now we get to that number 5 part. So this one is number 11 leg. And which way around does this go? Which way is the top, which way is the bottom? I think that goes into there. Like that. Yep, that fits okay there. So I quite like those ridges in there, to be honest. That'll keep it nice and steady when it sets. John says, because I mainly paint armies for King's of War, it's nice to have something different to paint, to try new things. Yeah, it definitely is, mate. It is nice to have something different. Busy said, I nearly bought one of those neat firelights, but they've got a newer model which wasn't available till the 13th for some reason. Yeah, I was looking at the different ones, mate. They've got like newer models which are slightly brighter and that kind of stuff. But I just, I think I went for like the middle one. I think it was the 2200 model. I think they do a 2300 now or something, but I didn't want to pay the extra for what I didn't really need. See you, Marco. Take care, buddy. Enjoy your TV. Tony saying he's picked up the full box set for £25. It's not bad, mate, is it? Bit of X-Files. Not that I've ever seen the X-Files, to be fair. So that fits on that one. Bit of plastic glue in there. Just hold that for a bit while that goes off. Yeah, randomly, I've never seen the X-Files. I never used to watch any kind of like sort of on much TV back then, and I've never really kind of gone back and revisited. Yeah, Jessup saying never seen X-Files. No, never seen one episode of it, mate. Never seen an episode of it. TC Brain Drain saying X-Files was pretty good. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, mate. Just it's one of them things where I feel so far behind it now. I just don't even want to start it. There's too many other things. I've still never watched all of I've never watched all of Game of Thrones. I've never watched Sopranos. I've never watched all of Walking Dead yet. There's so many TV series that I've never watched all of Breaking Bad. I kind of got halfway through it and haven't watched the end of that. There's so many bits and pieces that I should go back and watch, but I just never seem to have the time to actually to dedicate to watching something. Like if me and my wife are watching something together, then we'll choose something we're both going to watch. And if I'm hobbying or anything like that, then I tend to not want to watch something that I have to concentrate on. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't even know where to kind of pick up X-Files these days. Kaylee saying Quantum Leap and X-Files were the first things I was able to stay up past 9 PM to watch when I won. I remember Quantum Leap as well, mind. Sam Beckett. Dirk says, I wish I hadn't watched all of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even kind of a long way through it, to be fair. I've got quite a chunk to go on Game of Thrones. So I think there's some kind of iconic parts that I've still not watched yet. I haven't watched the Red Wedding. I'm aware of what it is, but I've not watched it. So there's whole hosts of. What's quite nice actually is I've never really because I kind of try to avoid spoilers and that kind of stuff. There's enough time kind of passed now that I've kind of forgot what anybody told me about it, and nobody talks about it anymore now. So I could kind of genuinely go back and it would all be a bit of a surprise, really. But yeah, if I'm sitting hobbying or something, I'll kind of put sort of Disney Plus on or something and watch a Marvel film, or just because I've seen them all. You can kind of go back and. Is that how that goes? That looks weird. That with that leg kind of around the tail like that. That's how it goes apparently. That's how it looks on the picture here. Yeah, it does. It curls around there. I suppose it keeps it steady as well, doesn't it? We'll get some glue on that. John said, I just finished Game of Thrones. Maybe I'm easily pleased, but I enjoyed the final season. Apart from the fight in the dark, no idea who died there. I'll try not to look into that then. Yeah, I did hear the final season was a bit wasn't great, but I think a bit like you, mate. I think I'm quite easily pleased if that's the case, and I tend to like sort of. I think there's enough distance from it now that like it's not like the flavour of the month that everybody's talking about. Tasty Rendering says I more than understand. There are way too many TV shows that I need to sit down and watch, and that list only seems to constantly grow. Yeah, and I think if it's anything where it's got like 9 or 10 seasons of something, it feels like a real commitment to like, all right, if I'm going to kind of go back and watch something now, like if I'm going to commit to it, like it really needs to be something that like me and my wife are going to watch together. But the other side of it is as well is like we might only watch maybe 2 episodes in a night or something like that, maybe 3 at a push if they're a bit shorter. And then I stream on a Monday, I stream on a Wednesday. We've been like doing like things like D&D on Thursdays, kind of like, so we don't always get that many nights to sort of like to sit and watch them together as well. And my wife's she tends to go to bed like relatively early, like compared to me. Like I'm much more of a late riser and kind of late to bed, and she's a much earlier riser and early to bed type thing. So it's just a kind of like the commitment to watch something that's like that big a season. It needs to be something pretty special. We much prefer to kind of start watching something new that we can like maybe binge a season on, and then kind of look forward to the next season or something like that. That tends to be how we end up doing stuff these days. The joys of getting older. Right, 13, 14, and 15. That's these bad boys here. Peter says, I feel me rewatching a lot of the snowy parts of Game of Thrones when I feel inspiration. Oh, I can imagine, mate. Yeah, that'll certainly be kind of inspiration. Jason says, I fell asleep during both Ant-Man flicks. Ant-Man films are alright, mate. Like I said before, though, I'm easily pleased. I like a good popcorn film. Kaylee saying, Star Trek was my hobby and go-to background show last year. I watched all of it during lockdown, all of it. Yeah, we've had this conversation before, I'm sure, but I've never seen any Star Trek. James said, Blizzard saying, never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. I'm huge into fantasy genre, but it doesn't appeal to me. It's funny actually, mate, because when Game of Thrones first came on TV, I watched the first episode and didn't enjoy it at all, and I just kind of like thought, that's not for me, this kind of thing. So I think it was already onto about season maybe 3 or something like that, before I actually went back and decided to kind of like give it a second try. And I must admit, I was kind of enjoying it when I went back and watched it again. Must have just been having an off day or something when I watched it the first time. And I think then what I did was, I might have still been with my ex-wife back then as well, because I've got a feeling I took it on an iPad to watch on a holiday. And I think I watched a little bit of it, maybe it's a couple of seasons. And then I think we were going to end up watching it together or something like that. So we went back and started it again, and then obviously we got divorced, so that never happened. And then I think at some point I went back and decided to go from the start again, because I hate like sort of when there's been too long a time. I need to kind of go back and sort of get back into the story, if you like, rather than starting halfway through a season or sort of into a different season, and without remembering the context of the previous story. And I think that's what it was. I think I just drifted away from it. So yeah, Game of Thrones has been around for some time now. I don't thinking back like with that. James is saying, I like the final seasons of Game of Thrones, just wish a few more things would have been fleshed out. Yeah, I've never read the books either, to be fair, so it's not like kind of I wouldn't be comparing them to kind of the story and that, and I know some of it's quite different and some of it's the same, obviously. But so yeah, but no doubt I'll go back and watch them at some point, because I must admit I was enjoying it. Same with Breaking Bad, to be fair, I was enjoying that as well, but I think I just got to a point where I felt I'd kind of binged on it and I needed a break, and then I kind of started watching something else, really. Christian says Game of Thrones was great, and unpopular opinion, the ending was really good. I like it when people like sort of have different opinions. Like, not everybody has to like everything. Like, I quite like that. Dirk says, will there be a special Christmas episode of BlackJack Legacy with the wifey? Do you know what, mate? I have no idea. I'll have to ask her. Oh, excuse me. Bit of stomach rumblings there. Yeah, I don't see why not, mate. I think she's done it before. I think as long as she can have a glass of wine, I'm sure she might join us for a Christmas episode or a New Year episode. Peter says the biggest binge I ever did was the entire Black Sail series in a week. I'm trying to think what have I kind of binged through. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think I had a good binge watch of that. I think I got through that pretty quick. What else have I done? I'm trying to think if there's been anything I've kind of gone through in a big chunk. John says as soon as my wife watched the first episode of Game of Thrones where they killed the wolf, she noped out. Yeah, Keely says it took me 3 attempts to get through the pile for Game of Thrones, but when I did, there were 3 seasons I had to catch up on after Bran took a tumble. Yeah, I think I was the same, Keely. I think I basically watched that first episode, and like it didn't hook me at the time for whatever reason. There it is. Mitchell said my biggest series regret was Lost. It started well enough, but by the last 2 or 3 seasons, the story fell apart. Yeah, I think Lost is another one that I kind of never got to the end of. I did watch Heroes. I used to quite enjoy Heroes back in the day, but I think there was only 3 seasons of that, so that was kind of alright to kind of get through and watch. I think most things when they get like sort of, unless it was like back in the day when it was on an episode every week and I would kind of like manage it and keep up with it. These days, I just feel like there's just so much TV that something has to really grab me to make me want to kind of like sit with it. Well, I think back in the day you almost kind of, you just accepted some stuff wasn't as good and still watched it, I think. Was I meant to put that on there before I glued them bits together? I think I probably was. Just pull them apart a bit. Ooh, they stick pretty good now. It looks like it's meant to do that, I think. Let's try and work this out. Or does it just sit on the top? It's hard to tell that. I can't really tell if that's meant to go into that gap there. It doesn't look like there's a gap for it. No, it's not. It goes in there. And it goes, oops, it goes the other way around. That's why, like that. There, it fits perfect in there. We're on a good one. Let's have a little look where we're up to here. James says, I keep telling myself I'm going to paint the Song of Ice and Fire armies I have. Yeah, I think you and about 1 million other people, mate. I think there's loads of people got that stuff and they've never done much with it. I hear it's kind of making a bit of a resurgence at the moment. I hear it's getting a lot of play. Martin says, I might be crucified for this, but I hate all the Chris Nolan Batman films. And I'd rather rewatch all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films for the millionth time than Game of Thrones. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings, mate, so I can't kind of... and I am a big Batman fan, so yeah, I think we're at opposite ends of the scale on that one. Sorry, buddy. Miniature Adventures, good evening, mate. He says, do you plan on coming to any US conventions? Would love to meet up and buy you a pint. First of all, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Second of all, I did plan on coming to US conventions, mate. I had a ticket for Gen Con and my flights were booked and my hotel was booked. And then obviously the 2020 Gen Con was cancelled, and then 2021 hasn't happened, and then 2022 the tickets all went live for it and stuff, except back then we couldn't fly to the US, So I didn't really want to kind of take any chances. It's only recently, in the last couple of weeks, that they've actually opened up flights from the UK to the US again. So technically I could go, but I think like sort of tickets and stuff will be sold now. So at some point, mate, the answer, short answer, yes, at some point I'll probably be coming to Gen Con. But, not Gen Con, sorry, Adepticon, that's what I meant to say. I'll be coming to Adepticon, but when? It's more likely to be sort of 2023, I think, than 2022. And as the way the world is at the moment, anything could happen between now and then. So, yeah, fingers crossed, buddy. Yeah, I managed to kind of get a refund on my flight and refund on my hotel. So I didn't lose any money on it. And I just popped that money to one side in a savings account. And that's the money I'll be using to kind of get back to Adepticon at some point. I say get back. It'll be the first time I've been. But yeah, I would love to, mate. I would love to. I'd love to go to the LVO as well, the Las Vegas Open. One, because it's a great tournament, and two, because I love Las Vegas. It'll be a good excuse to get back there. Kenneth says, Legend of the Seeker was a great fantasy show. I think I remember the name, mate, but it's not a show I've seen. That's for sure. Luke says, I loved Heroes, mainly that first season. Oh, yeah, it did get screwed for the writer's strike in the second season, mate. It had so much promise, that show. It was going places. But yeah, unfortunately, that writer's strike did kind of sort of knock it off its kilter a little bit. But yeah, it was really clever. I'm not afraid to say I used to have a Save the Cheerleader, Save the World t-shirt. Oh, that's a bit tough to get through there. I just read a bit further down there, Marcus, yeah. Peter says, for me, it hugely depends on what I'm doing. I watch Black Sails while painting Black Scorpio Pirate Minis. That made me binge through it fast. See, I feel when I'm watching something for the first time, I can't do it while I'm hobbying because my focus is not on the show, and I feel like I miss too much with the story and like sort of that kind of stuff. I like to actually take the time to watch it properly. So, but I will watch something I've already seen. I'll watch that more so when I'm hobbying. But it's nice to do stuff for kind of a bit of inspiration and stuff. I mean, like I said before, I'll quite often watch the Marvel stuff and that. Like if I'm sitting painting Crisis Protocol minis, it's quite cool to have the Marvel stuff on in the background while I'm sitting painting them and stuff. It's quite motivating. They don't take too long to paint as well. And it just kind of gets the creative juices flowing, or creative in terms of actually like the painting, not necessarily like kind of coming up with colours or anything like that, but actually doing the painting itself. But yeah, quite nice just to chill. My missus is not like a massive kind of superhero fan or anything like that, so that's the kind of stuff that I would watch on my own anyway. So yeah, it all kind of works. Tasty Brain Twins, I find it very surprising as they were very good movies, particularly the first two. Yeah. Marcus is saying, Save the Cheerleader. Christian says, Sense8 was a really good series, only 2 seasons and well worth a watch. I haven't seen it, mate. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. The other one that I started watching, which I must admit I need to go back to at some point because I was quite enjoying it, was Altered Carbon. I watched probably the first 2/3 of the first season, and I was actually quite enjoying that. And for whatever reason, I never got to the end of that. I tend to watch a lot of like sort of Netflix and Amazon Prime documentaries when I'm hobbying, because they tend to be like sort of more conversational, more like interview type things. Like I loved watching, or more so kind of listening to like Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls, the Michael Jordan thing. Like I loved listening to that. I like listening to like kind of like music documentaries, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the sports stuff. There's a really good one called, I think it's called The Battered Bastards of Baseball, which is about a baseball team that Kurt Russell's father owned, and he basically brought in all the misfits and the dropouts and the kind of the people that nobody else wanted, and kind of changed up baseball a bit. That was quite a good documentary as well. So yeah, I like to watch that kind of stuff when I'm hobbying because I don't have to pay that much attention to it and just listen. Kaylee saying Heroes was a victim of its own success. The original plan was for an American Horror Story style set of characters each season, but the networks decided against it. I didn't realise that. I would have liked to have seen that. But yeah, it was a great show. There was some great characters in it as well. I must admit, I went back and started watching it again not that long ago. And I really didn't like the Peter Petrelli character. I didn't remember. I don't remember not liking him when I watched it the first time, but I really didn't like him when I went back and watched it again randomly. Dirk says, yeah, Heroes I have to watch again. Loved the first season, never continued watching the rest. It was a bit of a shame, but it's still worth watching, mate. Yeah. Acebox says too much to watch, too little time. Yeah, I think that's kind of a case. That's why I tend to be quite selective with what I'm watching. Really, I watch more movies, I would say, than TV, because I tend to like I say, if me and my missus are sitting to watch something together, then we'll tend to sit and watch something together. And if we're not sitting to do something together, like if she decides to go to the gym or something like that, or I'm kind of like decide to do my own thing, I tend to be sitting kind of hobbying or working or something like that. Really, I'll be prepping stuff or editing videos, so I tend to do stuff like that. That's those two bits built. God, these numbers jump around all over the place. So as I was saying before, so it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So why can't they just be like go like a book, like left to right? It's jumping around all over. So number 18, which is it on this sprue? That's 17. It's 20. It's 25. It's 22. 24. 19. 21. What is 17 even look like? Is that a bit higher? No, that's the leg. Right. Well, I do need 19. So we'll clip that bit off. In fact, you know what? Oh yeah. We'll clip that bit off. Whoops. Sorry there, folks, if that was a bit of a bang. Let me zoom this out a little bit. I appreciate it. It's probably nice to see something on camera rather than just a close up of things. Where are we up to here? Peterson, one of the reasons I never dare to start watching Vikings, I know I'll end up buying Saga and the Viking Army if I like it. Right, so there's number 19. I now need to find number 18, which is that number 18 there? No, that's 28. Oh, there's number 18 there. It's a tiny little thing. This one here. I thought that was part of the sprue. Kaylee says Altered Carbon was great. Real shame there's not going to be a third season. I didn't realise there wasn't going to be a third season. However, from my perspective, that's maybe alright. It means at least I'll definitely get to watch it all at some point. I like the guy who played. This is James Purefoy. Is the guy's name? He played like the guy who had hired the guy to solve his murder kind of thing. He was in that thing with Kevin Bacon that was called The Following, I think it was, and that was really cool as well. I watched that a few years ago. There's some big chunky bits of stuff to cut off here. Cut them bits away. Deep Red says this is one of the few things I miss an Underworld film for. And yes, it's on tonight. I like Underworld, mate. Vampires versus werewolves. Nothing wrong with that, mate. I like watching the old Blade films as well, that kind of stuff. Right, so that bit, what's that meant to be? Oh, that's a little kind of alien mouth coming out. Don't know if you can see that, can you? I'll show you. No IP infringement. So we'll drop a little bit of glue into there. And then with my sausage fingers, put that into there. Let that set a bit while I get the other half of the head. And the other half of the head, is it going to give me a number for it? No, apparently it's not. Oh, is it on this? Where does that go into there then? That's a bit strange. Oh, it goes like that. There we go. So, bit of glue in here. I had a feeling I'd need more to do tonight. I thought this was gonna be one of those really quick, like, oh, I've built this, like, what we're gonna do now kind of thing. I didn't expect this to be quite as time consuming. Peter says, since we're talking dark movies or dank movies, what do you think of Spawn? It's been years since I've watched Spawn. John says, I'm watching my favourite thing to hobby to, talking about his favourite thing to watch while hobbying. If only was watching me while hobbying, if only someone was watching me hobby, it would be like a Russian dolls are hobbying. Watching me, watching you, watching me. Marcus says, being better by considered guilty pleasure. The conversation has reached bacon. Have we reached bacon yet? I don't think it has, mate. Peter says, yeah, got a DVD full of stuff. Bacon will always win. Kaylee says, the core is my guilty pleasure. Two-Face takes the train to the centre of the earth and nuke it. I don't think I've seen the core. I wonder what I would consider my guilty pleasure to be then, when it comes to like films and stuff that I just like watch randomly. I think I mentioned on a stream the other day I watched Wild Wild West again recently, and I felt like it wasn't quite as bad as I remember. What would I consider as a bit of a guilty pleasure? I'm not even sure if you would class it as a guilty pleasure, but I do like old Arnold films and kind of like sort of 80s sort of, you know, like kind of Rambo and Commando and Predator and Running Man and all that kind of stuff. I do like those old films. Nice to go back and watch them now and again. Switch your brain off. I watched a film I did watch hobbying a little while ago now. I mean, I'm probably going back to during the lockdown. Was I watched Cobra again. I hadn't seen that in years with Schwarzenegger. Not Schwarzenegger, sorry, with Stallone. I hadn't seen Cobra in ages. RoboCop, probably another bit of a kind of guilty pleasure that I would go back and watch. Right, other side of the head now. Get that one now as well before it sets. Talk about Ash versus Evil Dead as well. I saw a little bit of that. I've not watched too much of it, but I did see a little bit of it. I started watching it with my wife and she wasn't overly impressed, so we turned it off. But it's something I would potentially go back and watch on my own. Love, Death and Robots. I can't remember. I don't think I started watching that at all. I've certainly not seen it all, but I don't think I watched it all. Katie said, I miss bacon, but pigs are too cute and intelligent to eat. Yeah, I could never be a vegan or a vegetarian. I do like my meat too much. Oh, you heard Kevin Bacon. That qualifies. That was it. It was Kevin Bacon. See, everything's 6 degrees separation from Kevin Bacon, isn't it? That's the whole thing. Right, there's a head. And there's a bit of a carapace to go onto that. Let's cut that bit out. If I can find it, there it is. Sharknado. I've not seen any of those. I'm not really into those kind of cheesy stuff. I've not seen any of them. I do like a bit of like a rubbishy kind of horror now and again. I'll watch a load of those. Kaylee says, all your guilty pleasures are just awesome action movies, nothing guilty about them. That's what I mean. I think it's just the fact that they're all kind of like old, kind of 80s films. 80s and 90s. Like my missus would never like sit and watch them with us kind of thing. She'd be like, oh my god. Like proper like just macho kind of like bullshit kind of thing. So I don't think she'd really like, she's not that interested in that kind of stuff. But I do love like an old action film. Bit of Red Heat. Tango and Cash. All that kind of crap. Lost Boys is a favourite of mine as well. I do like Lost Boys. Not sure I call that a guilty pleasure either. I suppose what would you class as a guilty pleasure? Like, is it something that is generally thought of as a bit shit, something that's not very good? Is that what you would call a guilty pleasure? But you enjoy it. Luke said, I don't believe in guilty pleasures unless it's illegal and you have no reason to feel guilty about it. I think even if it's illegal, mate, you don't have to feel guilty about it. You can choose not to. Right, that fits on there. So we'll get a bit of glue in there. And these little sockets here. Just hold that in place for a second. John says, I quite like watching quiz shows while I hobby. There's never much I need to look at and can shout out the answers. You know what, mate? I do like a good quiz show. I do. Christian says, I found today they remade West Side Story and I'm seriously considering going to see it on release day. They've remade West Side Story. I mean, West Side Story has been remade a number of times under different guises. And West Side Story even in itself is almost Romeo and Juliet, isn't it? So even West Side Story is a bit of a remake. But I was a bit surprised to see the other day that they've remade Home Alone. Like, if ever a film didn't need to be remade, it was that one. Like, I get like remaking West Side Story and maybe bringing it up to date. But I was like saying to my wife the other day, like they've remade Home Alone, like, but like even trying to bring Home Alone up to a modern day standards. So basically the parents go away, they leave the kid at home. And the kid just goes on the computer and like sort of sends a message, or he gets on his mobile phone and rings somebody. It's like, that's the shortest film ever. I don't really understand how you bring that up to speed basically based upon that. Right, so that should fit nicely into there, and it does. So we'll get a bit of glue on that. I think we're basically just got the front arms. Are they arms? Are they legs? I don't know what you call them, and the wings as well. And then they'll be a good one. I'm actually only mildly disappointed that this model wasn't the blue plastic that it shows on the cover. I would have quite liked it to have been kind of blue plastic like that, but it's not. It's grey. But this is definitely one of those quick airbrush, dry brush job. It would do good. Lost Boys was great. Yeah, Lost Boys was brilliant. There was rumours that there's going to be a follow up to Lost Boys. I mean, there was a really garbage Lost Boys 2 and 3. I think that was like straight to video, had nobody in them. I think, but I think there was talk of kind of revisiting it as a thing. Ed says, mine's pro wrestling. I know it's dumb when it's done. Well, I love it. wrestling's never been something I've kind of interested in. My kids used to love it when they were younger. Joshua Hatch, hello mate. He says Finding Bigfoot, Aliens, and all the fake Discovery channels. Do you know what, mate? I quite enjoy watching like documentaries about like, you know, like when people kind of like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I quite enjoy kind of like watching them to try and like to see people's opinions, to try and understand like why on earth would somebody like let's take like the faked moon landings or something like that, or let's take like the Earth being flat. Like I like to watch them to like think like why would somebody think that, like what? And when you watch them, you think actually there's maybe there's maybe something in what they're saying, kind of thing. Like I find that quite interesting to watch, just as a concept, just to like try and see the other side. If you like understand people's viewpoints, why does somebody think that? Not to convince me, just to try and sort of see it from their side. Why are they so convinced? So I get all that kind of Loch Ness Monster and stuff. Luke says, Pointless in the Chase, a good quiz shows. Yeah. Josh says, at least pro wrestling is real. She says that new Home Alone is god awful. And Luke saying the new one's not a remake, it's a sequel. It's essentially crap. Surely the sequel was the sequel. Watch it with my boy, it was fun. Also takes a piss out of itself. I think it would have to, wouldn't it? It just feels like one of those things. Like why would anybody suggest that it needed to be made? I think that's the bit I was kind of like trying to get my head around. So 21, that's this bit. My little lad was watching Aladdin the other day, the remake of Aladdin, the one with Will Smith in, the kind of like the real life one, if you like, not the cartoon. And he was enjoying that, so he's been watching the cartoon again. Is that 128? It's this bit here. These bits feel slightly unnecessary of why these are split into so many parts. Yeah, Peter says Home Alone in modern time. Parents forgot kid plays Fortnite for a week. Parents come back done. Yeah, that was kind of where my head was at with the film. Like it was like, yeah, parents forget kid just rings them on his mobile. Goes, you've left me behind. Kid sits and watch Netflix until they got back. Plays on his games console or something. Yeah, it was like, I mean, even the original film was like flawed as a concept, but at least it was like. It was a good Christmas movie anyway. A bit will go into there. Kelly's saying we used to get stoned and play Ancient Aliens Bingo. Pick 3 wacky theories at the start of the episode. If all of yours turn up, the other person has to make a cover. Sounds like my kind of night. I like that. Question everything. Yeah, Christian says they should stop remaking good movies and remake bad movies. Do you know what it is, mate? They kind of like they're caught in that horrible situation, haven't they? Or they've kind of caught themselves where it's like, you don't want to remake a bad movie because maybe it wasn't that it was a bad movie, maybe it was a bad story. And then they get, can you imagine remaking a bad movie and it being bad again? Where I think at least when they remake a good movie, it's like the Kickstarter, isn't it? It's the Kickstarter of movies. And it's like, well, we've already made this once and it was really successful and it made loads of money and everyone knows about it. So even if we make a bad version of this, everyone will watch it to see if we've made a bad version of it. So at least we'll get our money back. So I think it's the Kickstarter of movies, isn't it? Somebody asking there, I just saw, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Absolutely. It's set at Christmas. How can it not be a Christmas movie? Right, let's get that on there. Major Tom, Ed saying there, I grew up on World of Sport. Yeah, I did, to be fair, as well. I remember Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and Kendo and Nagasaki and all that kind of stuff. But I was never, we didn't, we weren't that wealthy when I was a kid. We didn't have much money, and we didn't have Sky TV. When all the other kids were watching the wrestling on Sky, we didn't have Sky. So I think that kind of coloured my view on it. I think that's probably why I never watched wrestling. Yeah, it is 100% a Christmas movie, mate. Any movie that is set at Christmas is a Christmas movie by definition. And anyone that says otherwise is wrong. Luke says, I could not decide if the new Mortal Kombat was good. Do you know what it is, mate? I watched it a while ago, and I thought it was alright. It was kind of, there was some decent fight scenes in it. The special effects obviously were pretty decent compared to the old ones. I thought it did a decent job of it. I mean, it was never going to be a high budget film, so like you kind of have to accept that you're getting a bit of B movie fare about it a little bit. But for what it was pretty good. Ace Boxes, notice all this UFO videos is always blurry, even when we have 4K and even ultra 4K video. Yeah, I'm always a bit like that about like kind of ghosts and all this kind of stuff when people like say like about ghosts are real and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just surprised that we've never caught any of this stuff on camera by now. Like with all of the security cameras and all of the CCTV and everyone's got camera phones and all that kind of stuff. I'm just massively surprised we've never managed to capture anything ever. So I'm always a bit skeptical about stuff like that. Especially when it's something that people make money out or getting other people to believe in. So, Luke says, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? It's funny, mate, because we always watch it at Halloween. But I guess it's a Christmas film, isn't it? In the same spirit as The Grinch. Well, it's a good film, regardless. If you watch on Netflix the show about the movies that made us and stuff like that, there's a one about Home Alone, and there's a one about The Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's really interesting to see how that film ever even came about, and about how Disney wanted, even though Disney commissioned it, they almost wanted nothing to do with it, like when they saw it, so they put it out under their Buena Vista label as opposed to under the Disney label, and then years later it become huge, and now all of a sudden it's a Disney movie now. But yeah, Disney didn't want anything to do with it when they they certainly didn't want it to be released under a Disney label, if you like. Home Alone's the best movie, all the same beats as Die Hard, but with an Academy Award winning actor. Speaking of Home Alone, the American Horror Story that I'm watching at the moment has got Macaulay Culkin in it, and he plays a really good part. He plays kind of like a drug addicted kind of sort of rent boy type thing. And he plays an amazing part. Peter says, I just read today, I don't know if this is true, when they asked Bruce Willis if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, he replied, hell no, it's a Bruce Willis movie. I've read lots of stuff online over the time and seen stuff on YouTube about Bruce Willis being a really kind of arrogant person and a horrible person to work with. I think Kevin Smith, when he did, is it Ride Along he did with Bruce Willis? He directed it, I think. I think that one is commonly known, when he talks about Bruce Willis, I think there's no love lost between them two. Josh says, I can't even get a good video of my cat when he's acting crazy, much less snacking Bigfoot. You might not be able to catch your cat, mate, but people have caught their cats on video. That's my point. What's Christian talking about there? Good popcorn movie. I enjoyed it. St. Louis Keith, hello, mate. He says Die Hard is a Christmas movie if the longest date is a summer beach movie. But summer beach movies is not a genre, though, is it? Luke says, I don't think I ever realised Buena Vista was Disney. Yes, mate, there you go. You're learning all the time. Kaylee says, you mean Culkin is doing things other than appearing in AVGN and Red Letter Media food? I tell you what, he is brilliant in it. He is really, really good. Plays a hell of a good part. To be fair, if you were Culkin, he was doing all right for money for quite some time, wasn't he? He made plenty of cash from his childhood starring days. And wasn't he married to? What's she called again? She was Meg in Family Guy. Her name's, it's on the tip of my tongue. I think there's this whole list of names now that I can't remember. Yeah, Cop Out. That was the film I was trying to think of. What did I say? Ride Along. Yeah, it was Cop Out I was thinking of. Yeah. Gremlins is a Christmas movie. Yeah, Gremlins is an amazing Christmas movie. I would agree. Gremlins 2 is one of the most underrated movies ever made. Gremlins 2 is an amazing film. Mila Kunis, that's it, Kaylee. That's what I was trying to think of. I had the K in my head and I couldn't think of her name there. Yeah, she used to be married to Mila Kunis. I mean, they're not married now because I think she's married to... I'm terrible with names today. Demi Moore was married to Ashton Kutcher. That's it. I'm sure she's married to Ashton Kutcher now. But yeah, they used to be married. Or they certainly were a couple. So I think he was married to Mila Kunis, and he had plenty of cash in the bank, I think, from his childhood days. So I don't think he was in any rush to be in any movies. I'll tell you what, these spikes are sticking right in my hands while I'm trying to get the angle for this arm right. I can't see how this one goes on. Movies like that. That'll do. Peter said I had a very posh Gremlins Christmas sweater in the hands of my shop one day. Luke said I saw Mila Kunis in Eli when she was filming with Channing Tatum. That was Jupiter, whatever it was called. Was it Jupiter Descending or something that film was? I think that she was filmed with Channing Tatum. Right, just the wings now, I think. I don't know why you get extra eggs, but you do. Maybe in case you lose some bits. Dirk says he was heavily on drugs and worked at Subway for quite a long time. Culkin, I mean. Thought you meant Luke there. I was going to say, what's Luke done? Well, he's in American Horror Story and he's good. So... I was watching something recently, had Haley Joel Osment in it, and he's changed a bit as well. Talking about kid actors. How are we doing for time? This has been a perfect little one night build, really. Clip through these bits. I must admit, folks, these kind of like hobby hangouts where I'm not really kind of doing anything too serious, that I'm kind of worried about screwing up, or where we're just sitting having a bit of a natter. They never do very well views wise, but by God, I enjoy just having a bit of a chat. I don't get out much these days, kind of thing. I don't have like a group of friends that I see on any kind of regular basis or anything. And I must admit, I do have fun doing them. They do absolutely nothing to grow my business, like is it like to grow the channel or to like kind of grow Patreons or anything like that. They don't do anything for my analytics. They screw up my views. Like if I've had a video that's been doing well and then I do a live stream, it screws up the whole algorithm, and then basically because it doesn't get many views, it basically stops promoting my other videos and all that kind of stuff. I just don't care. I just enjoy doing it. So if you enjoyed doing it, please give it a little thumbs up. Please kind of sort of make sure that you give it a like, because that's the only way I can kind of sort of try and tell YouTube that basically, like, honestly, people do like it. Just because I'm not getting millions of views doesn't mean it's not like covering a little kind of corner of the internet for people to come and hang out on. Jupiter Ascension, bloody awful movie. I've never seen it, mate. Looks like we did so much in my drug days, did I? I tell you what, mate, it was a hard time. Kaylee says, was that a Wachowski movie? Do you know what? I'm not sure. It could have been. Post Matrix, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the new Matrix movie, I'll be honest. I watched the trailer again. Was it today? I think I did actually. It might have been this morning. I watched the trailer for that movie again. Oh, because I watched the Spider-Man trailer this morning. The new No Way Home. Not No Way Home. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, No Way Home. I watched that trailer again this morning, the new trailer that's out. And the Matrix one was in the suggested list. So I thought, I'll just watch that again while I'm here. And yeah, it looks pretty good actually. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'll tell you what, there's lots of these big, flipping sharp as well. It's knocking my hands. Deep Red says, I love these nights. I get so much done while listening. And I'm like number 30. Thank you, buddy. I'm glad you folks enjoy it. I mean, like I always said, these were something that I started doing during the lockdowns and stuff, just to kind of give people things, just to pass the time. But as the time's gone on, it's like it's just part of our like kind of community nights, aren't they? Like this kind of thing would do kind of well on. You know what the interesting thing is? This kind of thing would do pretty good on Twitch, because like we've had. What have we had? We've got about 30 people in at the moment. It's peaked out at about 45. I think we had 45 in. Like getting 45 people into a stream on Twitch, it's pretty good bloody numbers. Like I think you only need like sort of, I can't remember what it is, what you need to get partnered or something like that. Like Monday night streams get up to about 90, 100 generally. Like they peak out at that. Like those are like they're not awful numbers for Twitch, but for YouTube doesn't care like about how many people are watching. It only cares about like it only cares about like numbers, views. That's all the thing. Where are we up to? Andrew says, I remember how she said Michael was like nails on a chalkboard. Yeah, never write someone off. Look at Robert Downey Jr. Exactly, mate. Robert Downey Jr. is a prime example of how you can kind of turn things around. God, I'm making a right mess of my mouse pad here, aren't I? Dirk says, so Blitzball team, well done. What next? Nice one, mate. Andrew said, I enjoy y'all too. Kaylee said, I was working 5:30 till 1:30 yesterday and thought I'd get an early night. Got to 12:30 and realised Spider-Man trailer was out in an hour, so I stayed up for that. Oh, it looks so good, man. Looks so good. I'm looking forward to that. still haven't watched Shang-Chi yet though. Now it's on Disney Plus. I intend to, but like I say, we're busy decorating the kind of spare room at home, making it a bit of a kind of my hobby room and gaming room type thing. So my plan is once that's all finished, I'm gonna sit myself in there and watch it in peace. And then hopefully at some point get to watch Eternals before, not that I think I need to, but to watch Eternals before Spider-Man comes out at Christmas. Give me a chance to catch up on stuff. It was worth it. Jason says new films are mostly garbage. There are plenty of classic flicks worth more your time. I disagree, mate. There's some decent films still come out. The problem now is because streaming services have pretty much killed DVD market. I watched something about this recently. Because streaming services have pretty much killed the DVD market, is that films need to make their money back at the box office, because they'll, like, some films used to kind of not do great at the box office, but would still make their money back on like sort of DVD and Blu-ray sales, or back in the day like video sales. And so you could make something that was a little bit more kind of left field, or a bit more kind of like not mainstream. But these days you can't. These days there is no kind of sort of after sales. There's no real DVD sales to speak of. And so it has to make all of its money at the box office, which is why they take a lot less risks when it comes to movies, and why we get so many superhero movies, because they're doing well at the minute, and kind of like it's a sure thing almost. So they still make good films. It's just that unusual ones kind of tend not to get made so much these days. Which I found really interesting, because I mean it's obvious when you hear it, but I've never really considered just the fact that like sort of the sales of DVDs were so big that it would obviously be taken into account. Let's have a little look here. Peter says, if I wasn't here, I'd only be watching some pathetic hobby broadcast on YouTube. VJ said, new Spidey looks great. New Venom was hot garbage. I think I'll still watch it, mate, but I don't have high hopes for it. I saw the trailer for the new Moon Knight TV series as well. That looks brilliant. Looking forward to that. Christian said, I watched Red Notice earlier this week and thought it was a fun watch. Only downside was the characters were too similar to the portrayals in Hobbs and Shaw. Do you know what, mate? As much as I really like Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, I do feel like they're both becoming they just play themselves now. So no matter what they're in, they are the same characters in every film now. I watched Free Guy the other day with Lou. Me and her watched it together, and Ryan Reynolds was just Ryan Reynolds in that as well. Right, how does this fit together on here? This needs to come into here somehow. Well, that doesn't look like it fits very well. That is right, isn't it? I've got that wing on the right way around. Yeah, I've. Let's try the other one first. Where are we going? I'm sure they do curl on that way. So that one fits on there quite nicely. We'll get some glue on that one. Oh, what was that? Andrew, thank you very much, buddy. Very, very kind of you. It says here you can tell the algorithm to shove it. I'm not worried about it, mate. It's honest. So the video that I've got going up on Friday this week is I had an interview with Warren from Beasts of War on Tabletop. Warren Johnson is basically one of the two guys that basically started Beasts of War. One of the main presenters. Doesn't do quite so much these days, but always was one of the main presenters. And we had that conversation during the interview about the algorithm and about Sort of like we both know what you're supposed to do to kind of to grow a channel, but that's not what necessarily what we want to do. So it hurts you, but by the same stretch, it like I find like this is never going to kind of grow big, but as long as I can kind of keep enough kind of coming through the door, to kind of keep the lights on and keep it financially kind of ticking along, I love doing this kind of stuff. That's what got me here in the first place. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. Luke saying he'll be taking his boy to watch Spider-Man. VJ says Shang-Chi's awesome. Christian saying Shang-Chi's brilliant. Yeah, I want to be in the right kind of mood. I want to just have a nice kind of like chilled night and kind of put my feet up and watch it. Peter saying still have to watch the new Venom. Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah, Luke saying he watched Shang-Chi with Elliot the other day. Was really good. Second half's fabulous. I'm looking forward to it. Let me just have to scroll down the screen a little bit here. Let me just... Where are we up to here? Acebox says, thank you, really appreciate the time you take to do the video. You are more than welcome, my friend. Thank you for coming and watching. VGs, have you considered moving the hobby Hangout to a second channel to stop it messing with your analytics? I'm sure we'd all follow you over there. Do you know what it is, mate? I think it's just... I think the problem is, mate, I still do the Monday Night Lives as well, and I think the same thing happens with them. I think it's just... it kind of... For me, I think at the minute it just works better just to keep everything in one place. But I have considered it, mate. Yeah, you're right. Tell you what, this is a bit of a beast to stick to this. Might have to use a bit of super glue on this one. Dirk saying, I don't know why they made Venom PG-13. I think it's purely from what I was saying, mate. It's a numbers thing. The more people that can get through the door, the more money they can make. Jacob says, on a technical aspect, they're amazing. On a narrative aspect, they leave a lot to be desired. Are we talking about Marvel stuff at the minute still? Oh yeah, we're talking about the Venom one, yeah, the first one. They go a bit heavy with the comedy. Yeah, I kind of got that from the trailers, to be honest. Kaylee says mid-budget movies have died. It's all big-budget action movies or low-budget indie flicks. Yeah, it's like they just can't. They can't afford to take a chance on something anymore now. They're just not like they're not. The risk is so high. Because essentially what they were saying was like even when it comes to like the box office, so if it costs $150 million to make a film, it needs to make $300 million at the box office to break even, because half of that money basically goes to like the cinemas and like all the other stuff, like distribution and all that kind of thing. So in order, like even just to break even, they've got to make double the film's budget. And like in this day and age, when people are not necessarily going to cinema and stuff, or certainly not in the numbers that they used to, it's not that easy. Right, that's not the best of. I think what we'll do is we'll run a little bit more plastic glue down that joint on that wing, and hope that kind of melts in a little bit. And then what we'll do is we'll fill it with a bit of a gap filler afterwards. We'll use that to kind of melt it down a bit. And then this wing, this one doesn't seem to kind of fit quite as smooth as that one does. There's like a little dimple at the top there for that. Oh, it kind of fits like that. It's definitely not as nice a fit as I would like, but let's just slather the glue on it. Try and melt it on. And we'll get that to fit. Oh, I get that on there. Let me just scroll down a little bit here. I'll catch up. Yeah, Luke's in. He watched that Red Notice as well. Yeah, I think it's something me and my missus will watch. It's kind of a nice little kind of switch your brain off kind of sort of Hollywood action. Sure, she's probably like 90% of women on the earth got a thing for Ryan Reynolds as well. So, oh, I think I've just knocked that other wing out. So yeah, I'm sure we'll watch that at some point. Kaylee says, I thought Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy was just Chris Pratt in the Lego movie. I think they're all morphing into each other, aren't they? Luke says, you're absolutely correct. Ryan Reynolds is always Deadpool light in all his movies, and Rock is Rock. I love them, but they don't ever break their own molds now. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, again, I think it's almost that kind of formula of like, you know what you're going to get kind of thing, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose. Peter says, I'm getting the Game of Bolt action firefighting tomorrow evening as well. Nice one, mate. Straight out of Saving Private Ryan. Luke says, I can't wait for the Warren interview. Do you know what it is? I edited it all today. So I spent a day basically editing the interview. And it's quite a long one. So my other interviews I've been trying to keep down to about half an hour, 40 minutes at a push kind of thing. But Warren and I chatted for ages. We were on the kind of the Zoom call. We chatted for about an hour before we even started recording. And he's just a chatty guy and dead easy to talk to and stuff like that. So I had a whale of a time. But the video, the interview lasts, even with it being edited, I got it down to about an hour and 10 minutes. And it's like, God, this is going to be quite a long one, this. But I thought, you know what it is? Like, to hell with it. If people don't want to watch it all, they don't have to watch it all. Some people will want to watch it. But there's some really good stuff in it. Like, he obviously talks about kind of like his origin story, if you like. How did he get started in gaming and stuff like that? Like what was his first games he played and that type of stuff. And then he talks about he and Lloyd, his brother, starting Beast of War. Where did the idea come from? How did it start? But then talks about, I mean, we're talking maybe say 12, 13 years ago when it started, and talking about like their relationship with GW. Their first channel got shut down by YouTube. I mean, it was absolutely flying at the time. They had over 50,000 subscribers back then, and the channel got shut down by YouTube and basically just disappeared. The conversations that they had with GW and some of the frictions there and stuff, and he's quite open and sort of like, it's quite revealing, a lot of the stuff he's talking about. So there's loads of stuff in there as well. I asked him about selling the business to Wayland Games as well, and he's quite open about that and has a conversation about that. And we chatted about kind of how the industry's changed over the years in a time while he's been doing it. It was just a really, really interesting conversation, and I actually had fun almost kind of like watching it back today while I was editing it, because I kind of like, it was like bringing it all back to me, really, some of the stuff we'd been chatting about. So yeah, hopefully people like it. I hope people take the time to watch it. It's a perfect thing to stick on in the background and just kind of listen to while you're doing a bit of hobby or something like that. I just hope people watch it, because it deserves, not because I did it, but I just think like the conversation with Warren kind of warrants having sort of people getting to see it, really. That's all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to releasing that on Friday. It's all done and ready to go, but I'm trying to keep a schedule where basically we have the Monday night live, we have the Wednesday night hobby hangout, and then we have like the Friday video will be that the painting video from last week, or the interview videos from the weeks before. So excuse me while I'm just scraping up all this. I'm trying to put all this into one pile here. So other than a bit of gap filling on the shoulder blades there, which I'm not massively. That's kind of starting to squeeze out a little bit there if I push that. But that one there doesn't. That one doesn't seem to want to. There, it kind of just. That's better. It seemed to jump into place there when I pushed it. And that one's creating its old plastic goo. Right, we'll hold that for a bit longer while we're sitting chat. Peter Cooman saying, "Night all, thank you very much, mate." Kelly saying, "I've been Facebook friends with Warren for years. He's a really genuine guy. Honestly, we chatted like old friends. I've never spoken to him before. Like, we've never had any conversations before in the past. And so this was the first time I've kind of ever spoken to him, either by text or face to face. But yeah, it's just, he's kind of in it for the right reasons, basically. That's all I could say, really. Where are we up to here? Thanks, Ed. Take care, buddy. VGC, I enjoyed the comedy aspect of the first Venom. Saved it, to be honest. Yeah, the second one felt flat. Okay. VGC, I love Tom. Yeah, I think Tom Hardy's brilliant, mate. Ace Boxes, do you have an Amazon link? I do, mate. Yeah, Ace Christians just shared a below. Thank you very much, mate. Andrew Fairbanks says, I think your last few weeks of missing Hangout probably killed the mojo more than anything else. To be honest, mate, it couldn't be helped, mate. I had some health issues. I've been in and out of hospital. I've been getting some tests for some quite nasty things where I thought I might not be long for this earth, to be fair. And I recently got the all clear. So if that's what kills it, that's what kills it, mate. But yeah, I couldn't change that. So where are we up to here? Tasty Brain Drink says, wait, their first channel. Why did their first channel get shut down? You have to listen to the video, mate. Tiberius, I just got in from work. What the bells is that? This is, mate, it is a Xeno Dragon from Dungeons and Lasers. So I'm just building it tonight. Tony Booth Leiden, hello, mate. He says, just made the end of the stream after work. Woohoo, nice to see you, fella. Tony Howell says, final season of Game of Thrones was rushed and could have been better, but I still enjoyed it. You just catching up, mate. Nice one. Take care, Luke. Nice to see you, buddy. I think it's starting to stick there now. I'll just use that just to smooth out some of that melted plastic a little bit there. We can always clean that up afterwards, I think. But I will run a bit of plastic into there because that melted quite nicely there to kind of give me a nice seal. Get a bit of there as well. So that seems alright. I think that's okay. And that, folks, as they say, is that. So that's on a 50mm base, give you an idea of the size. And remove some of these bits. That's that. It's quite a nice model, that. So I think that, like I say, I think they're £20. I don't know if they're. I think you can either pre-order them. I think they're available to buy. I think, but yeah. So if you're looking for them, folks, that's this kit here, the Dungeons and Lasers Xeno Dragon, 1 miniature set, tabletop ready, durable plastic. There you go. Nice little kit. Quite enjoyed building that, to be fair. After all that, I haven't stuck it to the base yet. But it does kind of, it is nicely balanced, even with those huge wings. It's quite nicely balanced on there. Right, I've got some cleaning up to do here. Right, let me get a drink of water here because I'm thirsty. VJC, listen, why is Alfie's run? Thank you very much, mate. Tiberius says that's well sexy. Thank you very much. Kaylee says Tony should not have had those two letters. Andrew says, yeah, I get why you had to miss Hobby House. I'm just trying to explain why the algorithm sunk you. No, it's not. I don't think it was that, mate. The algorithm, basically. So the way the algorithm works is if you produce a video, and it does well, and people are clicking on it and they're watching it, then YouTube will start to recommend it and send it out. But then if like 2 days later I do like a hobby hangout or I do a Monday night live stream or something, and that video doesn't do as well, the algorithm basically kind of sort of like almost halts and just goes, oh, hang on a second, people are not enjoying this content as much as the other content. They might still send the old video out, but they stop promoting the new stuff kind of thing a little bit. And I think just because I have a channel that makes videos and does live streams and covers like all sorts of games, so I can do a Games Workshop video, it'll get thousands of views. I can do a video from a company. Like if I did this as a video on its own, or even tonight's hobby hangout, might get a few hundred views, might get 500 views. That basically kind of like sends a flag to Google or to YouTube, and basically just says, it was a blip, it was one-off kind of thing. Don't worry about it. Don't send it out to more people yet. So the algorithm basically works like that, regardless of if I take a week off or not. I can take a week off, and the algorithm would just, the best thing I could do is produce a really good video about Games Workshop stuff. And then take a week off and just let it run its course. That would do me more good than like sort of making 3 videos a week kind of thing. It's just weird how it works, mate. VJ says that's the wife's birthday and Christmas gift sorted. Crazy with my birthday, wedding anniversary, wife's birthday, Christmas and son's birthday all in 2 months. Wow, mate. Yeah, we have some stuff like that. But ours are all kind of. It's my son's birthday at the end of September. It's my other son's, like my 2 older son's birthday on, what day is it today? It's Wednesday, on Friday this week. Then it's my birthday next week. I think it's like my wife's dad's birthday and her brother-in-law's birthday in October as well. So we have kind of like a slug of like lots of things happening quite close together as well. But yeah, I mean, that gives, I don't know if that gives you a better idea of the size of it compared to the size of my head. Wingspan wise, it's quite a size. It's quite interesting. Busey's saying that maybe the algorithm will change now they're doing away with dislike votes, etc. They're not doing away with them, mate. What they're doing is they're trying to hide them from people so that people don't jump on the bandwagon if a video is getting lots of dislikes, basically. What might change things is they're trying to push live streams a little bit more at the minute, because I think they're probably trying to kind of sort of take over Twitch a little bit, because Twitch is not in a great place at the moment. So I think they're potentially kind of sort of starting to push live streams a bit, which might actually help, to be fair. VJ's here next week. What date? 27th is his. Mine's the 25th, mate. So mine's next Thursday. Yeah, mine's next Thursday, isn't it? So we'll be doing the hobby hangout on the Wednesday, on the day before my birthday, and then I'm going out for a meal with my wife on my birthday on the Thursday night. Dirk says comparison to head. Yes, it looks better. The head, obviously, you mean, mate, don't you? I just thought I'd try to give you a kind of a size comparison, let you know the kind of the size of the thing. Let me see if I got a Wild West Exodus Mini here to compare it in size. So here's one of the Wild West Exodus Minis as a comparison. Let me stick it under the camera. So that gives you a rough idea, size comparison wise. Let me just tilt that so at least it's a similar kind of place. So yeah, it's a big old beast. It's the kind of thing I'll let it all kind of sort of glue up properly and let it set, and then maybe airbrush it, bit of dry brushing, bring it all together, I think. Andrew says the dislike thing helps brands that have some terrible ideas that get ratioed. Those don't get seen as such no more. They still, I mean, in the background there is still that kind of like to dislike ratio. Like I still get to see in the background their like and dislikes on my videos of kind of how many they get. But it'll still, but at the end of the day, YouTube's never kind of treated likes and dislikes any differently. It's all seen as content. Like if something generates lots and lots of dislikes, it's still generating views. So YouTube doesn't really care. At the end of the day, people will start clicking something to see why it's so bad. So it's not really that kind of like that kind of an issue type thing, really. It's more about like people getting like piled upon, like sort of like especially like I guess people like me who like work like on their own, kind of like, or like young people, or kind of people who are a bit more vulnerable, just not getting that kind of like bombed with that kind of, with that hate and stuff like that. You can go and search it out, but it's not as obvious for all to see, kind of thing. Busey saying good idea, maybe live stream every night. There was a time when I had considered kind of like sort of having that kind of Twitch channel of like a stream every night kind of thing, but I don't want to get myself into a situation where I can't like have a night out, I can't have a day off kind of thing. I can't, like, I'd hate to like all my family time. Like if I worked every night, I might as well just get a night shift job and earn proper money. The whole point of kind of doing this type of stuff like full time was to have more time with my family, really, and I think that would kind of kill it off, really. So VG says nice one, you already know you're getting that Dormammu yet. I am, but I'm it's a gift from my from my family, so like from like my sister, my two sister-in-laws and my brother-in-laws. It's a gift from them for my birthday, so I don't know what I'm getting off my wife. I have no idea what my birthday present from my wife is. I've got a rough idea because she did ask me about a size for something, so I think I know one thing I'm getting, but we'll see. We'll see. It'll be the Monday after I get to find out. Jason says it looks wicked. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Vijay says pretty sure I'm getting a big slug on board games from Amazon list. Nice one, mate. Andrew saying size comparison. I thought it was all about the moon and the ocean. Deep Red says I want to see it painted. Yeah, I think I'll paint it up at some point. It'll be one of them things where it'll be nice to do kind of as a nice little kind of background type thing, just to do for a bit of fun. Paint something a bit different. I've never really kind of sort of painted any alien type stuff. Might be fun to use some kind of unusual colours or something like that. Although I must admit I do quite like the blue on the box. Using some different shades of blue might be quite nice. Andrew says yes, but is hanging out with us really work? It is if you ask my wife. When every Monday and every Wednesday I basically disappear. She definitely classes it at work, even though it might not feel like work. She definitely classes it at work. So yeah, it definitely is in that respect. How are we doing for time? We're coming up to 10 to 11 now. I think we might as well start to wrap it up now. I think we're pretty much done there for the night. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming in and joining me as always tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Fairbanks, as well, for that awesome donation tonight. Very much appreciated, buddy. And yeah, if anybody, I think most of you folks are already Patreons and stuff, but if you're not and you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/BlackJack Legacy. Kaylee says, look at the 80s Aliens arcade game if you want some wacky colour schemes. It almost feels a bit like R-Type, the R-Type game. Lots of them kind of dragon type things you used to fight again. I remember those kind of things. That's what it kind of feels like as well. And VGC works well with my high-vis tech vibe for my hybrids. Yeah, nice one. Thanks, Christian, for sharing the link there as well, buddy. So, yeah, I will see you all. Please, if you haven't checked out last week's Wild West Exodus painting video, please check it out. For some reason, it's bombed. It's not done particularly very well. So if you haven't seen it, please do check it out. And yeah, watch out for the interview with Warren on Friday. I think you'll definitely see some, or you'll hear some interesting things in that. So take care, folks, and I will see you all on Monday. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.